bias in history. With our Footprints clients, we've had many from different ethnic groups and different religious groups, and many of them have used our products with no complaints about bias. And the reason for this is that we've tried to point out any possible bias rather than ignore it or hide it. And so we encourage parents to actually make a lesson of it. And I just want to read a quote that we think is important for parents to understand and to teach their children. Here it is. It's by Jay Powers of the Bang Bang Club and Journalism Ethics. And Jay Powers said, "Everybody sees reality in a different way. To really get the facts, we have to look at all perceptions, discover the assumptions, biases, and truths in those perceptions, and then discover the facts, in inverted commas. Historians, like writers and photographers, influence the way people see the world. We can prevent people from seeing truth, or we can depict truth as close to reality as possible. No matter how truthful and honest each historian presents a biased version of the truth. Those who write have a responsibility to be as accurate as possible, to understand their biases and attempt to leave them behind. Those who read, this is us, have another responsibility to question when information seems lacking, to read with a grain of salt, and to demand the whole say." And so what we've tried to do in our Footprints packages is to present stories and materials that present opposing points of view, so that children can see that there isn't just one side to a story. And for example, when it came to wars, this was quite easy. If you have a story about the Anglo-Boer War, we would have one about a little child of a British family, and you would get their perspective. And then we had stories from the perspective of an Afrikaner family, and we get their perspective of that same war. And we even had one that was from the perspective of the Baralong people and how they were affected by this war. And so children get to see that depending who's telling the story, you have different emotions about the different players in a conflict situation like that. And that's such an important lesson for our children to learn in the 21st century, because the media inundates us with information, and so much of it has a very powerful agenda from one point of view, but we have to always teach our children what's the other point of view, and is this everything? Is this the whole truth? So we have to teach them discernment. And by reading widely, our programs are encouraging children to develop those skills.
I think that the important thing is, like you're saying, and we cover this a lot in the 21st century, so that's the high school one, but we set the groundwork or the foundation in the younger two programs. Again, like you said, looking at it from different perspectives, the Khoi and the Portuguese, the French Huguenots and the Dutch at the Cape. We try to keep the balance there. We've never shied away from the fact that we were white children of the 70s, that's when we were born. And we were obviously subject to the biases of our upbringing. I know that as we wrote these programs, we went on our own emotional journey, understanding that what we were seeing and experiencing was not necessarily everybody's experience in South Africa at the time. I remember when reading Cry Beloved Country to my eldest daughter when she was working through 21st Footprints, I remember having to stop often to cry and mourn for something that I didn't really know was going on when I was a young child. So we've been very open with who we are, what our approach to it is. But again, pulling no punches and sharing things from both sides. The high school program, we cover things that probably a lot of people would prefer to sweep under the carpet and not actually address the elephant in the room, so to speak. That is why we've pulled in the state capture report. I think that as time goes on, as we watch these elections unfold, we're probably going to have to put in addendums or something on the Teachable online platform, because things are radical and they are changing all the time. But I think it's important for us as parents not to raise our children in a bubble, but to give them the ability, like you were saying, to discern. when one of the first places people go to research is on Wikipedia. And Wikipedia is so full of holes that it is never a reliable source, because anybody can go and edit it. So the information that is on the web needs to be checked and double checked and triple checked before we can actually say, yes, this is truth, it's confirmed through 3 different sources, etc. Which is why we've tried to offer through the programs this varied, wide aspect of looking at these different areas in history. We've, over the years, so Footprints has been running for 16 years now, Charles? I think it's about 16
Something like
years.
that.
And we've only ever had 1 or 2 people return books, or return the package saying that they are of a different ethnic background, and they just feel that the program is too Eurocentric. And we appreciate those comments, and we ask folks, can you tell us how you would prefer, or what we can do to improve? Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to serve the homeschool community by offering them perspectives on South African history.